you get that drink.
Welcome back to the Queens Yanks channel. Today we're going to be discussing a league that is slowly becoming near and dear to my heart, as I have enjoyed all the interactions with supporters across the league. And I'm just trying to do my part and bring a little bit more awareness to this league from what I can. And one of the tough parts about founding a new league is getting some name power into the league. You always have to have the young guys to build around, but you also have to have some veterans and to get fans in, you either need to have some ties in the community, or you need to have some players or some names that people recognize. And I think Canadian Premier League has actually done a really good job at that. And this list today is going to be 10 players that you've probably heard of if you live in the United States, or if you're a fan of MLS or a fan of European soccer. So that said, we'll get right into it. And number 10 is basically what urged me to make this list. Not this past weekend, but the weekend before, I turned on the TV, and on Fox Sports 2, guess what's on? An FC Edmonton game. And as I was looking through the players, a name stood out to me, and it actually wasn't even a player. It was the manager of the FC Edmonton, Koch. And he's a really well-known soccer manager here in the States. He's still beloved in Cincinnati. I lived in Cincinnati for a year, and I have some friends that still would take him back in a heartbeat if they were the one making the decisions in the front office. But I lived in St. Petersburg and Tampa, Florida for the better part of the last 6 of the past 8 years. I'm back in Vegas now, but I used to attend the local team there called the Tampa Bay Rowdies. I used to attend their games regularly, and when I was there, it was when FC Cincinnati was in the USL, and they were on their historic run there in the Lamar Hunt Trophy tournament, and they were also regular season champions at one point. And in 2018, that squad that he was manager of actually won the regular season championship, and he took home the Coach of the Year honors in the USL. During his time in Cincinnati in the USL, he had a goal differential of plus 40, which for the USL is very good if you're not familiar with that league. And I also, when I was doing some research on him, I saw that he coached Simon Fraser University from 2008 to 2014, and he had 105 wins to only 5 losses. So I know he's a well-known manager here in the States. So if you're in the States and you know him, or if you're in Cincinnati and you remember him, give some FC Edmonton some love and watch some games if you can. So we'll move on to number 9, which is Valor FC player by the name of Arnold Maltau, and I don't know if I'm saying that wrong, I apologize. Arnold's played 12 seasons professionally in France, 4 of which were in the top league, which is called Ligue 1, which, if you're not familiar, which is where the team PSG plays, where Messi might be going to. We'll see what happens there. But he's played for Dijon and Angers in Ligue 1. He's also represented the Congo at the national team level, where he even bagged a goal against Egypt in 2017. So he's definitely got some name power as well. And before I move on to number 8, I will also like to say that these are no particular order. These were just me going through a list, seeing some names that I recognize and that I believe a lot of people probably would recognize if they even know that they're playing in the Canadian Premier League right now. And when they do, there might be more inclined to tune in or try to figure out where they can watch some Canadian Premier League games. So at number 7, I have, and if I'm saying this wrong, I'm sorry, Dejan Krkic. He plays for Forge FC, and he's probably most well known here in the States for playing in the MLS with DC United and LAFC, as he's got over 100 games for MLS. And he was also the starter for a few years, I believe, in the J League over in Japan. But I believe his highest level in terms of playing probably came from playing for Red Star Belgrade in 2008 and 2009 season. And with all this, between all this, he's earned 41 international caps for the Canadian men's national team as well. So we'll move on to number 6, which is Kyle Becker, who plays for Forge FC as well. The name may be familiar for MLS fans, as he's played for Toronto FC and Montreal respectively. He also earned 18 caps with the Canadiens men's national team, and he's been a really solid player for the Canadian Premier League, and one that I think that they should focus on building around, maybe branding a little bit around, because he actually won the 2020 Canadian Premier League Player of the Year. I think he's a really solid, local backbone to start and build around this league. So number 5, I've got Fraser Aird, and if I'm saying that wrong again, I'm sorry. He's an FC Edmonton player, and although he's earned 8 caps for Canada, including a goal against Scotland, I think this career is a really interesting one as it kind of comes full circle, and let me explain. So people are probably going to know this name because he played for the Glasgow Rangers, and the Glasgow Rangers had not lost until this weekend a league game in Scotland, I believe dating back to 2019, and they ran away with the league last year and went undefeated, dethroning Celtic. So if you keep up with the Celtic-Glasgow Rangers rivalry, obviously you're going to know who the Rangers are. And he played for 5 years there, and he actually played for Dundee United as well in Scotland, which ironically was the team that ended the Glasgow Scholars' undefeated streak this past weekend. And he's also played for the Queens of the South in Scotland, which is arguably one of the most historic clubs in Scotland. So if you're a fan of the Scottish Premier League or just European soccer in general, you probably might recognize this name. And he's actually playing up in Canada, so go give him a watch. Number 4, I've got Joe Mason with the Calvary FC. Joe had a very successful and decorative career in England up until now when he's joined Calvary. His career, he's played for historic clubs such as the MK Dons, Portsmouth, Burton Albion, Wolverhampton, Bolton, Plymouth Argyle, and Cardiff City. The latter of which he made and played for the FA Cup for Cardiff City, which at that time that he played that year, Cardiff City was in the Premier League. So he has officially gotten some squad minutes for a Premier League team. He also won the Young Player of the Year for Cardiff in the 2011-2012 campaign. So we'll move on to number 3, which is Ben Fisk of Calvary. He's currently on his 3rd Canadian Premier League team in 3 seasons, and he joined Calvary this past year. His highest level of play outside of Canada would have been playing for Ireland for a decent Derry City squad. And this is in the League of Ireland, and this may be a little biased because my family comes from North Ireland, but I'm a Londonderry fan, and he's earned himself 2 caps for the Canadian men's national team as well. So it's not like this playing for Derry may not be playing for Wolverhampton per se, but this is still a high level and competitive league, and obviously earning two caps for the men's national team is nothing to wink at. So if you are a fan of the League of Ireland, you got a guy named Ben Fisk playing Calvary, so go give him a watch. And number 2, I've got Nick Ledgerwood of Calvary FC as well. This might be the most well-known name in terms of Canada, frankly because of his longevity with the Canadian men's national team, which he's earned 50 caps from 2007 to 2017, so it's a 10-year career for the national team. He actually had a goal against El Salvador too, which I don't remember the year he got that in. Although he impressively played for a Swedish team, which has a lot of history to it, in Hamburg, which ironically is where Aron Johannesson of the USA had just left, I believe, last year as well. But that said, I believe his career achievement per se, or what he's probably most proud of in terms of his career, would be playing for 1860 Munich, which at the time he played for, they were in the 2 Bundesliga, which I believe they're currently in the 3 Bundesliga, but at the time they were in the 2. So hey, that's a great career to have in Germany, especially for a North American player at a time when the USA and Canada weren't necessarily producing a lot of European players. So at number 1, I have Michael Petrescu of York FC. Michael had a very nice career in England, which earned him 9 caps with the Canadian men's national team. He's also played for teams, you can call them, I think they're historic clubs. Some people can call them, if you're a casual fan, you may not have heard of them, but I believe some of them you may have. Teams like Oldham, Coventry, Leyton Orient, even Notts County, which is the oldest professional club in England, I believe. I actually have one of their jerseys back on my wall, back in my room. But probably most well-known team is playing for this team right above my head, QPR. He was contracted to them, although he was out on loan for the 2014-15 season, which was the season that QPR was in the Premier League. He does have booked minutes for the EPL Championship. For the English Championship. Last year he was loaned out to Barnet in London, which he scored 8 goals. And Barnet, not too long ago, was in League 2 in England. And they're I believe they're in the National League right now. And I believe that's where they were when he was playing for them. But, so yeah, this is my first video on 10 guys that you have undoubtedly at least heard of. And they're all playing up in Canada in the Premier League. So go give these guys a watch if you can. Trust me, these fans are great. The supporters are great. The clubs are great. It's good soccer up north. Go give this league a try, and I promise there's going to be some players that you know of. You're not going to be watching guys that you don't know. So that said, thank you guys so much for watching. I do have another video planned for this, as I have 10 more players. I may have enough for even more. So comment below who I missed. If I did mispronounce anything, don't go too hard on me. If I got any information wrong, correct me by all means, please. And hey, I look forward to doing another video, and best of luck to all these players and all these teams up north. You guys have a good week.